Welcome back to Nature Speaks. Donning luxurious fur coats is a wonderful adaptation for winter stress. From the smallest shrew to the largest bobcat, mammals grow a thick coat to fight the biting cold of winter. Guard hairs and underfur are specialized types of hair that add to insulating and waterproofing of fur. If you're lucky, you may catch a glimpse of a red fox in its prime winter coat, a beautiful sight to see. Last but not least, some animals respond to the stress of impending winter by packing up and moving for a while. Wild animals deal successfully and healthfully. While the stress of winter during our holidays, they need no visits to therapists or pharmacies, no membership in gyms or health clubs. They just do what comes so naturally to survive. If you're stressed by the burdens you carry, head to a nearby forest, preserve, walk off the excesses of the season, take a look around, and you will find inspiration in the wild plants and animals of the winter woods. As I studied the way in which animals handle winter and the burdens that come with it, I realized that we too carry burdens of varying weights on a daily basis. The Bible says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee, and he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." Psalm 55 verse 23 says, this is a world of burden bearing. Sorrow and trouble come to all. They are not respecter of persons. The rich have their share of trouble as well as the poor. Man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. Job chapter 14 verse 1 tells us. Some have to carry heavier burdens than others. Some seem handicapped and frustrated at every turn of the road. Some have little conception of the hidden burdens that others are carrying. Many a breaking heart is hidden by a smiling face. Often the deepest and heaviest burden that men and women carry are those not seen with the naked eye. Then there are physical burdens. Paul said in the Bible, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure." Some have been sick for a very long time. They wonder how much longer they can take it. Then there are also temperamental burdens, and sometimes these are the hardest to bear. Fear, anxiety, worry, depression, and even despair. There is the burden of the loss of a loved one, husband, wife, child, or parent. You don't know how you're going to make it through this time. What about the burdens that we all carry, the burden of disappointment? Girls are disappointed when they didn't get that special boyfriend. Most girls think they are standing at the last chance station. Then the ugliest boy comes by, winks at them, and they fall all over themselves. Listen now. God has just the right person waiting for you. Then there are things that we should not do because of our burdens. Firstly, we are not to doubt God. How easily doubt assails us when trouble comes upon us. But doubting does not give us relief from our burdens. "I will therefore that men pray everywhere," the Bible says, lifting up holy hands. We are not to murmur and complain. The Bible has quite a bit to say about murmuring and complaining. The Bible says in Philippians chapter 2 verse 14, "Do all things without complaining and disputing." Murmuring is in fact a step higher than complaining. It is complaining with a critical spirit. Complaining is also ingratitude. Oh, how easily we forget God's blessings. One day God blesses us, and the next day we forget all about that blessing. A politician met a friend once on the street and says, "I sure hope you are going to vote for me." The friend said, "No." And the politician asked, "But was it not me who got your daughter a job when she graduated from high school? Wasn't me who helped you to get that job and pay that hospital bill? So why don't you vote for me?" The friend replied, "It's because you haven't done anything for me recently." Unfortunately, a lot of Christians are like that politician's friend. We forget God's blessings so fast. Psalm chapter 103 verse 2 says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his blessings." All his benefits includes his blessings. All ungratitude, dear friend, is unlovely, but especially unlovely in the hearts and minds of those who profess to be Christians. We are not to despair in the midst of our burden. Despair will not lift one burden. David said, "My heart is sore, pain within me, and the terrors of my heart are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are upon me, and horror overwhelm me." A desire to escape the burden will not help us in our burden bearing. David further said in Psalm 55 verse 6 and 7, "Oh, that I had the wings like a dove, then I would fly away and be at rest. Lo, then I would wander far off and remain in the wilderness." Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever looked out the window, watched the birds and said, "Oh, how I wish I could have wings like that bird and fly away"? We'll be right back to discover what to do at that time.